Kimi K3 is the largest set of open weights ever published, 2.78 trillion parameters. And right now, how do I use it free is one of the most searched questions in this entire field. The videos answering it mostly share a shape, a sign-up screen, an API key, the word free in the thumbnail, and no reading of any terms whatsoever. This video is the other kind. I spent this morning checking every free door at source, the official repositories, the official command line tools license, and most interestingly, the actual machine-readable registry that the free routing ecosystem runs on, which I pulled and searched string by string. And what I found changes the usual answer in 3 ways. One door that every guide assumes exists doesn't. I searched for it directly, and its absence is confirmed. What sits in its place is more interesting because the strings around it tell you exactly who is paying for your free access, in words the interface itself uses. One door that nobody mentions is, I think, the best answer for most people. And it isn't K3 at all. It's sitting in the same repository as the most famous K3 result of the year, one table row down, and it changes the question from how do I get scraps of the giant to something better. And buried in that registry, I found a warning, written by the tooling's own maintainers about a different vendor, that perfectly explains why the word legit is in this title, and why some of the free advice circulating right now could cost people their accounts. So, every legitimate door ranked, for each one what you actually get, who pays, and the catch, ground rules first, because they're load-bearing. Let's go. Ground rules what legit means. 3 lines I won't cross, and you shouldn't either. No terms violations. And this isn't theoretical inside that routing registry. In the maintainer's own notes about a different provider's free tier, I found this nearly verbatim. A free monthly allowance exists, and a warning marker that vendors' terms of service prohibit third-party proxy and harness use. Meaning, a free tier can be real, and wiring it into your favorite tool can still be a ban offense. The free part and the permitted part are separate questions. Always. Every door below passes both. No credential games, shared keys, pooled accounts, resold access off the table, obviously. And read the license, because K3's is not the one you assume. From the official repository, their words, the weights are released under the Kimi K3 license, a custom license, covering both the code and the weights. That's Open Frontier weights, their phrase, and it is not the same as open source. For personal use, you're almost certainly fine. For anything commercial, the license file is the door you read first, and I'm not going to summarize it for you, because summaries of licenses are how people get hurt. Scoring each door, what you get, who pays, the catch, ranked at the end. Door 1, the weights themselves, the foundation, everything else stands on. Verified from the official repository this morning, Moonshot publishes the full model weights, not a distilled cousin. The actual Frontier checkpoint, trained per their documentation, with quantization-aware precision from the fine-tuning stage onward, specifically for broad hardware compatibility. That detail matters. They built this model intending it to run outside their data center. What you get? Everything. The entire model, downloadable, the community-converted container for local running is close to a terabyte and famously arrives over a magnet link. Who pays Moonshot? And knowingly, Open Frontier weights are their market position against the closed labs. Your free download is their argument. The catch 2. The custom license as covered. And physics, owning the weights is not the same as running them, which brings us to Door 2, running the giant locally, free, real, and honest about speed. 2 paths here, both verified at source on this channel previously, both genuinely free. The small memory path. Layer streaming put this 2.78 trillion parameter model through 4 gigabytes of graphics memory. It works. It is overnight class, you hand it something hard, and read the answer in the morning. The fast disk path, the C engine we read line by line, opens K3 in about 29 gigabytes of RAM, 64 practical per its own documentation, at about 0.63 words per second, which its own numbers show is 84% of a hard ceiling set by your drive's read speed. No update is coming, the wall is physics. What you get? The real Frontier model, fully private, on hardware you own, at walking pace. Who pays? You already did. The hardware exists. The marginal cost is electricity and patience. The catch? This is not chat. It's a batch instrument. If your mental model is a conversation, this door will disappoint you. If your mental model is an employee who works nights, it won't. Door 3. And this is the one nobody mentions, the Sibling. In the same engine's benchmark table, 1 row below the giant, sits Kimi Linear, a 48 billion parameter model from the same family. The numbers, from the project's published table, a 19 gigabyte container, 1.28 gigabytes of RAM, about 10.7 words per second, reading speed. The engine's own documentation says it plainly. If you only want to try this, start here. Let me translate those numbers. Reading speed in the memory footprint of a browser tab from the same lab, free, 52 times smaller on disk than the giant. roughly 17 times faster, runs on essentially anything made this decade. What you get, not K3's full intelligence, be clear about that. This is the capable sibling, not the giant, but interactive, private, and actually usable today. Who pays? Same as Door 2. You in hardware you already own. The catch: it isn't K3, and if the question you're really asking is, how do I get Frontier answers free? This door answers a different, better question. What's the most capability I can own right now? Also, one honesty note, I could not confirm this specific model's license file from where I work. Check its model card before commercial use. My ranking spoiler: this is door number 1. Most people searching K3 free would be happier here than behind any API trial, and nobody is telling them. Door 4, the official API, real, compatible, and check the page yourself. Verified from the official repository. Moonshot runs a platform API. The model string is simply the model's name. And smart move, it speaks both major API formats. So existing tools point at it with a one-line change. What you get: reportedly, new platform accounts in this ecosystem typically come with introductory credit. And that pattern is widely reported for this platform too. I could not verify the current terms from my environment. Their platform pages are unreachable from where I work. So treat the specifics as check the page yourself, including whether a card is required and when credit expires. Who pays? Moonshot as customer acquisition. Trials are marketing with an expiry date. The catch: a trial is a taste, not a tier. Metering begins when it ends. And you're in policy territory. They're data terms, not your architecture. Fine for code that isn't secret. A different decision for work that is. Door 5, the official command line tool, and the part I could verify made me trust it more. Moonshot ships its own coding agent for the terminal, and I pulled its repository this morning. MIT licensed, the genuinely open license on the harness itself. On first launch, it offers 2 doors: an OAuth login to their coding service or an API key. What you get: an official, permissively licensed harness, meaning the tool itself is yours forever, regardless of what happens to any plan. What the OAuth login includes free, I could not verify from here. The login screen and their platform page will tell you in 30 seconds. Who pays? Moonshot, building the ecosystem around their models. The same open core shape we've verified across this entire category all year. The catch: the harness being free and open is certain. The allowance behind the login is whatever their current plan page says, and those pages change monthly. Door 6, the routing ecosystem, where I found the thing. Here's the door every free guide leans on: community routers with free model routes. So I searched the actual registry, the machine-readable one the tooling consumes. Finding 1, free routes are real. I found them for half a dozen other models: a fast Grok variant, a large NVIDIA model, a Tencent model, others, all carrying an explicit free suffix in their route names. Finding 2, there is no such route for K3 at all. I searched every string. The largest open model ever released has no free route in the registry. Every guide implying otherwise is describing a door that does not exist. Finding 3, and this is the interesting one, what Kimi has instead. The registry contains a dedicated Kimi provider wired to the official command line tool's login, with an API key variant mapped to K3. And around it, in the interface strings themselves, I found a sponsor banner, an official supporter badge, a partner link note, a preset call to action. Read those strings for what they are. Moonshot sponsors the tooling. The Kimi presence in the free routing ecosystem isn't a leaky faucet someone forgot to close. It's a paid placement, wearing a badge that says so. Which, to be clear, is the honest version of this arrangement, disclosed, official, and routed through their own login, rather than through terms violating proxies. What you get: official K3 access through third-party harnesses via their sanctioned path. Who pays? Moonshot as sponsorship. Your free door is a marketing purchase, and the interface literally wears the badge. The catch: sponsored doors are governed by the sponsor's plan terms and the router's data practices. 2 documents, and you should skim both. And sponsorships end. A door someone else pays to hold open is a door with a schedule you don't control. Door 7, the free because you're the dataset tier, the catch that deserves its own section. Across this ecosystem, we verified the pattern in a major labs launch this week. There's a recurring offer shape, a heavily discounted or free tier, in exchange for permission to train on everything you send. Sometimes rate limited on top. I'm not going to tell you never to take that deal. I'm going to tell you to see it as a deal. You are not a user of that tier, you are its supplier. 3 questions before touching any such offer. Does it train on your data? Does it retain your data? And is there an off switch? If the page doesn't answer all 3 plainly, the answer is the bad one. And the standing distinction applies with full force here. On these tiers, privacy isn't even a policy you're relying on. It's a policy you've explicitly signed away. For throwaway experiments, arguably fine. For anything you'd mind reading back in a training set. Door 2 and Door 3 exist, and the bytes never leave. One more door inside the apps. On the map, but not on the ranking. There's a door that isn't free but belongs on this map because it's where a lot of people will actually meet this model first. Hosted K3 inside consumer agent applications. We verified one major example from its official documentation this week. The biggest name in consumer local AI now offers frontier open models. This one included running in its own cloud with a stated zero retention default behind account credit. What you get, the giant at full interactive speed inside a polished tool, no hardware question at all. Who pays you after whatever introductory credit? This is the revenue half of an open core product and it's disclosed plainly. The catch is the one this channel keeps repeating because it keeps being true. The moment you use this door, you've moved from architecture to policy. A zero retention commitment is a good policy, and it is a promise about behavior, not a property of physics. The same application usually sits one model picker away from a fully local option. Look at the picker before you paste. That habit costs nothing, and it's the entire difference between the two kinds of private, not ranked because the question was free. But if your real question was easiest, this is the honest answer to that different question. The ranking. Number 1, Kimi linear locally reading speed, browser tab memory, genuinely free, genuinely private. The best answer to what most people actually want. Number 2, the giant locally overnight, the 4 GB path or the 32 to 64 GB path. Free forever, honest about being slow, and the only door where the frontier model is yours. Number 3, the official command line tool plus your existing plans. An MIT harness in front of whatever allowance their login grants, and the harness outlives the plan. Number 4, the sponsored router path. Real official disclosed and read 2 data policies and no sponsorships end. Number 5, platform trial credit. A taste with an expiry. Take it for evaluation, not for workflow. Number 6, training exchange tiers. Only ever with eyes open, only ever with disposable work. And underneath all 6, the weights themselves, the reason any of this exists under a license you read yourself. Notice the pattern in who pays. Every free door is one of 3 things: someone's marketing, someone's dataset, or someone's hardware, and only when the hardware is yours does the free part compound. Marketing budgets end, dataset deals cost you something you can't see. The machine on your desk just keeps being paid for. Which door is yours? 30 seconds each. If you have a laptop and no patience for setup, door 3, the Sibling through the engine we covered, 1 download, 1 model, reading speed tonight. Start there, you can always add doors. If your code is confidential, doors 2 and 3 only, full stop. Local paths are the only ones where the answer to where did my prompt go is nowhere. Everything else on this list, official, sponsored trial, or training tier, is a policy you're trusting, and confidential work deserves architecture. If you have a strong desktop or gaming machine gathering idle hours, door 2 is criminally underused. The giant overnight on the 64 GB path, or the 4 GB streaming path on the graphics card that mostly plays games. Cue the hard question at midnight. Read it with coffee. That machine is the cheapest frontier access you will ever have. If you're evaluating for a team or a product, door 4's trial for the capability read, then a genuine license review of the custom terms before anything ships, in that order, and the second step is not optional. If you just want to tinker across tools, door 6, the sponsored path, with both data documents skimmed, and door 5's MIT harness, which is yours regardless of what any plan does next. And if you're a student with nothing but a 5-year-old laptop, you are, for the first time, genuinely not locked out. The Sibling runs in the memory of a browser tab. That sentence would have been a joke a year ago. Honest limits, 3, quickly. 1, the platform side, trial amounts, allowances, data toggles, was unreachable from my environment. Those specifics are check the current page, and the pages change monthly. Everything repository side I read this morning. 2, all speed numbers are the project's own published measurements previously covered in full on this channel with their limitations. I haven't rerun them. 3, 2 licenses matter here and only 1 is famous. Read the K3 license before commercial use, and check the Sibling model's card because I couldn't confirm its terms from here. So here's my question, and I'll pin it below. Because the one thing no page publishes is the actual shape of these doors in practice. Which door are you using, and what limit did you really hit? The trial that expired early, the rate cap on the sponsored route, the login allowance nobody documents, the local speed on your drive. Post the door and the number between us. This comment section becomes the map that none of the marketing pages will ever draw. Every link, the official repositories, the license files, the engine with the benchmark table, and our full breakdowns of each local path is in the description. Read the terms before the tutorials. That's the order that keeps accounts alive. That's the standard here. Every door checked, every payer named, every catch stated in plain English. If you'd rather own your tools than rent them, subscribe. That's what we do every single day. I'll see you in the next one.